He ruled the charts for decades, but behind bars, everything changed. When news of R. Kelly's sudden overdose broke, the silence from officials spoke louder than any headline. Conflicting reports, no confirmed details, just a storm of confusion and suspicion. The lines between truth and cover-up began to blur, and what started as a medical emergency turned into something far more unsettling. Is this the final chapter of a fallen star, or the beginning of a much darker story? Watch until the end. The truth is hidden in the silence. Initial news of R. Kelly's reported overdose quickly gained traction, yet the specifics of the incident were noticeably vague. According to early reports, the event occurred while he was in custody, but no precise date, time, or location within the facility was immediately confirmed. This lack of clarity triggered a media storm, with multiple outlets rushing to publish fragments of information, often inconsistent or unverified. The story's urgency clashed with the absence of solid details, creating an information vacuum that quickly became fertile ground for speculation. Some news platforms described the incident as a possible suicide attempt, pointing to R. Kelly's ongoing mental and emotional struggles amid his legal crises. This theory was supported by past reports from his legal team, who had voiced concerns about his psychological state and the stress of prolonged incarceration. Other outlets, however, leaned toward a different narrative, that the overdose may have been an adverse reaction to legally prescribed medications, possibly antidepressants or anxiety treatments. This explanation, while less dramatic, aligned with a more clinical view of the event. Compounding the confusion was the silence or vague language used by correctional authorities. Statements from prison officials acknowledged a medical emergency, but refrained from specifying whether it was substance-related or linked to a health issue. No toxicology results, hospital confirmations, or eyewitness accounts were released to the public, leaving even the basic facts in question. As a result, observers were left to piece together conflicting clues without any official narrative to rely on. Further complicating matters were discrepancies between what mainstream media reported and what was being circulated on social platforms. Some claimed insiders had leaked more serious accounts of what happened, while others dismissed the event as exaggerated or misunderstood. Without clear medical records or testimony, every angle seemed plausible, and none verifiable. This ongoing ambiguity continues to cloud public understanding of the situation, making it difficult to determine whether this was a tragic health event, a deeper cry for help, or something far more suspicious. At the time of the reported overdose, R. Kelly was deeply enmeshed in a legal storm that had spanned years and drawn intense public scrutiny. Facing multiple federal and state charges, including sexual exploitation, racketeering, and obstruction of justice, he was at the center of one of the most high-profile legal battles in recent music history. The gravity and number of these allegations placed him under immense legal pressure, with several ongoing trials and mounting evidence further complicating his defense. His legal issues were not confined to a single jurisdiction. He was being pursued by courts in both New York and Illinois, amplifying the intensity and complexity of his situation. Behind bars, R. Kelly's physical and emotional health reportedly began to decline. His defense attorneys in previous court filings had petitioned for better medical care, citing chronic conditions that were being inadequately managed in custody. They also mentioned the psychological toll that isolation and lack of contact with his family and support system were having on him. Being a celebrity in a high-security prison environment often comes with added stress and safety concerns, which likely contributed to his deteriorating well-being. These factors, compounded by his fading career, public backlash, and the loss of financial stability, painted the picture of a man under overwhelming pressure from all sides. Moreover, the legal system's slow movement and the public's unforgiving gaze added another layer of strain. Each court appearance, leaked testimony, and media headline further eroded what remained of his public image and personal composure. Friends and former associates reportedly distanced themselves, and his personal life became increasingly isolated. Legal battles that once might have seemed winnable began to look insurmountable. In this high-stakes environment, the reported overdose raised valid concerns, not only about a possible medical emergency, but also about the breaking point of a man already worn thin by years of personal and legal turmoil. In the absence of clear and confirmed information, the public and media landscape quickly filled with speculation. Conspiracy theories began circulating almost immediately after news of R. Kelly's alleged overdose broke, with no official explanation and few verifiable details. Many questioned whether this was truly a medical emergency or something far more calculated. Social media platforms became breeding grounds for theories, some of which suggested that R. Kelly might have been targeted by individuals within the prison system who held grudges, whether personal or ideological. Given the notoriety of his case and the sensitive nature of the allegations against him, some speculated that he had made powerful enemies who could have orchestrated an attack from within. Other theories pointed toward potential corruption or cover-ups, suggesting that influential figures outside the prison might have had an interest in silencing him before he could reveal damaging information. Supporters of this line of thought often referenced past comments made by R. Kelly and his legal team, hinting that the singer possessed knowledge about others in the industry that could cause major fallout if brought to light. These narratives suggested a cleanup operation disguised as an overdose, adding a sinister twist to an already complex situation. On a more grounded level, some believed the incident reflected a mental health collapse, potentially a suicide attempt brought on by extreme isolation, fear, and hopelessness. This theory gained traction given his long-standing legal troubles, deteriorating mental state as reported by his lawyers, and the overwhelming nature of his circumstances. However, without psychological evaluations or a detailed medical report, this too remained speculative. Theories ranged from the dramatic to the far-fetched, but they all found life in the vacuum left by official silence. The lack of clarity surrounding the incident only intensified public curiosity and suspicion. While some dismissed the talk as tabloid noise, others insisted that something darker was at play. Until verified facts emerge, suspicion continues to swirl, fueling a narrative that sits at the intersection of celebrity downfall, justice, and mystery. As news of R. Kelly's reported overdose emerged, the media landscape reacted swiftly, but not uniformly. Some news organizations treated the incident as a breaking crisis, splashing bold headlines across websites and broadcasts without waiting for verified facts. These early reports often leaned heavily on speculation, using dramatic language that heightened public anxiety and confusion. Others in the media took a more cautious approach, highlighting the lack of official confirmation and stressing the importance of waiting for credible sources. This split in reporting styles created a chaotic information environment where truth, opinion, and guesswork were all intermingled. Meanwhile, social media platforms became a frenzy of reactions and theories. Hashtags related to R. Kelly trended within hours, with users divided across a broad spectrum of belief and emotion. Supporters expressed concern and sympathy, some even claiming foul play, while critics questioned the sincerity of the incident and suggested it might be a ploy for sympathy or leniency. This intense polarization reflected how R. Kelly's public image, already fractured by years of scandal, remained deeply divisive. His past crimes, legal battles, and the cultural weight of his music made the conversation more emotionally charged than most celebrity incidents. Adding to the confusion was the rapid spread of misinformation. Fake screenshots, anonymous claims, and altered videos began circulating, blurring the line between fact and fiction. Influencers, online commentators, and even parody accounts contributed to the chaos by posting unverified updates, further muddying public understanding. The speed at which false narratives gained traction showed how quickly modern platforms can distort the truth, especially when real details are scarce. The incident became more than just a health emergency. It turned into a cultural flashpoint. It reignited arguments over justice, celebrity accountability, media ethics, and public empathy. For many, it was not just a story about one man's crisis, but a mirror reflecting society's complicated relationship with fame, punishment, and the blurred boundaries between news and entertainment. In the wake of the reported overdose, attention now turns to what the future holds for R. Kelly, both legally and personally. His legal battles remain ongoing, with court proceedings, appeals, and potential sentencing still ahead. The incident may impact how the courts view his mental and physical condition, possibly influencing decisions around his confinement, health care, or even requests for sentence adjustments. His legal team may use the event to highlight concerns over his treatment and advocate for better conditions, or a reassessment of his custody status. Behind the scenes, prison officials are likely conducting internal reviews, especially if there were lapses in supervision or medical oversight. These findings, if released, could bring more clarity to the situation or raise further concerns about the system's ability to safeguard high-profile inmates. Meanwhile, the public continues to watch closely, with supporters, critics, and legal experts all waiting to see if more information will be disclosed. Media coverage will likely persist, especially if new evidence surfaces or court actions resume. Whether this incident becomes a turning point or simply fades into the background will depend on what's revealed next. For now, the unanswered questions linger, and the next steps, both for R. Kelly and the justice system, remain uncertain. Despite widespread media attention and public speculation, the truth behind R. Kelly's reported overdose remains unresolved. No official statement has offered a clear explanation, leaving room for ongoing doubt and debate. Was it a medical incident, a mental health crisis, or something more deliberate? Each possibility carries serious implications, yet none have been confirmed. The lack of transparency from authorities only deepens the mystery. Without verified medical details or direct statements from those involved, the incident remains open to interpretation. It reflects not only the uncertainties of this case, but also the broader issues of information control and public mistrust. For now, this episode stands as another murky chapter in R. Kelly's already controversial story. Until concrete facts emerge, the incident will continue to spark questions, perhaps more than it will ever answer.